everyone. I want to welcome all of you to Open Door Center for Spiritual Living, where we continue to be live and virtual and loving it. I don't know about you guys, but I'm so grateful for the opportunities that we have during this time to actually come together, to connect, to see each other, just to touch base, to know that what might feel like isolation is really an opportunity for us to just open to everything that is happening and to know, regardless, that whatever it appears it is that's going on, Spirit is large and it is in charge. Now we're going to go to our welcome song, and I'm going to play that. Hang tight.
Welcome to a place that knows you as God. Welcome to a place that sees who you are. We are of one mind. We are of one heart. Welcome to a place that knows the truth that God is everything. God is me, God is you. Welcome to a place that knows you as God. Welcome to a place that knows you as God. Welcome to a place that knows you as God. Welcome to a place that sees who you are. We are of one mind. We are of one heart. Welcome to a place that knows the truth that God is everything. God is me, God is you. Welcome to a place that knows you as God. Welcome to a place that knows you as God. Welcome to a place that knows you as God. Welcome to a place that sees who you are. We are of one mind. We are of one heart. Welcome to a place that knows the truth that God is everything. God is me, God is you. Welcome to a place that knows you as God. Welcome to a place that knows you as God. Welcome to a place that knows you as God.
I love that song. I don't know about any of you, but it just always brings me front and center. So now I'm going to turn it over to Carol Johnson to treat us in.
Good morning, everyone. So just taking a deep breath and know with me that there is a power and a presence in the universe. It is that creative force, and I can use it and so can you. And this morning, I use it for my own good, and I invite you to use it for yours. It's still January, my friends. And so we know that January represents a new beginning, crispness, freshness. And new beginnings, to me, speak about potentiality, opportunity. And I see my world as one big success party. I know right now that my physical being, my professional experience, my relationships, everything blossoms as success. I know that today the only failure is in not trying. And so I step up, I step out of my comfort zone, and I do whatever I need to do to create my success, to walk into that new year, 2021, and say yes, because that's what the universe says every time. Yes, yes, and more yes. And so it is with great joy and gratitude that I just say thank you. Thank you for this teaching, for these tools, for this knowing, for this center, for my spiritual family, in holding me up when I need support. I know that the highest and best good for each one of us is to move out with eager anticipation into this year with a healthy dose of optimism. I just let these words go because I know it is done. I know it is the truth, and so it is.
And so it is.
So it
Thank you
is.
for that lovely invocation, Carol. That just brought to my awareness how, yes, it's still cold. Yes, there's still plenty of time for snow and more fun weather that we maybe don't anticipate, but spring is coming, my friends. Warmth is moving our way. Everything is in synchronization, and that's perfect. So I'm so delighted this morning that we have the opportunity to have Sylvia Kearns, licensed practitioner and ministerial student, to speak this morning. We know Sylvia, and we just welcome you back to this place of sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Barbara, and thank you, Carol, for that beautiful prayer. You know, I don't know that I ever stopped to really listen to the words of our welcome song like I did today, because it was like, oh, wow, that's in my talk. Oh, that's part of my talk. And so forever going forward, I will always, remember this day, remember your faces as I listen to the words of that beautiful song. That's the good news. Here's the challenging news. So today I thought we would talk about going back to the basics. It's in this little itty bitty book that's, I don't know, 400 or 500 pages long. And what I want to point out to you is that what we're going to talk about today is in this many pages. So in this whole entire book, this is the tenets of our philosophy. So my talk title is Back to the Basics. And I know that some of you might be thinking, oh no, I already know all this, I can leave. Nobody will know I'm in Zoom. I don't even have to get out of the second row and walk out and hope nobody noticed. But hang in there. I think that you'll hear something new or different. And just being in spiritual community today is a good thing. But the short answer to the question about our foundational beliefs is that we're not a cosmology and we are not a theology. And that's really important, because embracing a philosophy as a way of life, while we also embrace much of the teachings of the master teacher Jesus and Buddha, and embrace so many of the Hindu basics. So understanding that we are a philosophy is important. So what are the basics? Throughout CSL in January, many centers will go back to the basics, and they take 4 weeks to go through each one of them. Some have never done it, some long since sort of abandoned it. For me, it was really good, because when I came in, I couldn't make sense, really. I came in like June. And so although I understood what was going on, January pulled it all together for me. But Dr. Barbara had mentioned before we started that I listen to talks from the East Coast to the West Coast, and I do. And it was really amazing how I heard some ministers who say, you know, we abandoned this years ago, but after last year, we thought maybe it'd be a good time to go back to basics. And I heard ministers say, you know, this wasn't something I ever have done before, but I think this is a good year to go back to basics. So while they take 4 weeks to do it, we're going to condense the information down to our talk today, hoping that I can give you the information that you need so that you can continue investigating, deepening, and familiarizing with these things. So as you all know or not, our 4 tenets are the thing itself, how it works, what it does, and how to use it. Pretty simple. I'm going to start with a joke. Jokes aren't really my thing. We're encouraged to bring people together in one spot by telling a long joke, a short joke. So my jokes are typically pretty short. Brandy Rhodes, who's a TV personality, she actually does announcing for ring fighting or something like that. So how she looks is really important. But when posed a question, here was her answer. My basics for a daytime look are simple: powder, gloss, brows, and lashes. So very simple. And that's what we're talking about in our 4 things. It's very simple. But as with the makeup, as with the gloss and the brows and the powder, it has to be applied. And that works the same with us. We have to apply our philosophical beliefs in our lives every day that we want them to work for us. You know, I'm sure there's days that she goes without makeup, or maybe not. I know that I've certainly learned to do that, being at homebound so much this last year. But applying the simple basics of science of mind every day is really, really important. I'll be quoting a bit from Science of Mind today from Ernest Holmes. And all of these quotes come out of the first 4 chapters. If you'd like to know specifically where, just let me know later and I'm happy to share that with you. And we start with, the mind that we discover within us is the mind that governs everything. This is the thing itself, and we should recognize its simplicity. It is often said, and I've often heard, change your thinking, change your life. It's a phrase that anyone can embrace to have a better life. And I remind myself of this when I do not like how life is unfolding for me. When I first ever sat in a CSL church and in the announcements, they said, all we ask you to do is change your thinking so you can change your life. I thought, that is the craziest thing I have ever heard. But I knew nothing about what I was about to learn. And now it's like gold for me. It's something I can embrace all the time. So the thing itself, which is important, Ernest Holmes used a lot of different names for God. He also uses God a lot. The Bible was an integral part of Ernest Holmes' daily readings. And as we read his books, we see many scriptures listed throughout. It is one of his resources. But in addition to using God, we read and hear him. If you've ever gone to YouTube, you can YouTube his talks. They're all on there, and you can hear him actually speaking. They're radio talks, but he uses divine consciousness, law, goddess, spirit, Allah. The list goes on and on. I think someone did a project on it, and there were like 150 names. But the name is not important. What it is important. In the Science of Mind textbook, he tells us, and this is a big quote, so I need you to listen really close for a minute. It is so big within, in that wherever we grasp at it, we are it, to the extent that we grasp it. But since it's infinite, we can never encompass it. We shall never encompass God, and yet we shall always be in God, and of God. I like the way St. Augustine said it. I got that one really easily. God is a circle whose center is everywhere and its circumference is nowhere. I would encourage each of us to hold close to us the word that works best for you. Father, Mother, God, Divine Feminine. There's not a name for it. That is why Ernest Holmes titled this The Thing Itself. One of my favorite short reads is a book called This Thing Called You. And in it was one of the few books that I've read cover to cover. And I'm going to close our talk today with a passage from it. But that thing itself that is in us, through us, is all powerful. It's omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. It's the God qualities that we hear so much about: harmony, peace, love, joy, beauty. It is the thing that holds the universes together. So that is the it. There's a whole week's worth of talk right there. Then we'll talk about the way it works. Let us take a moment and go back to our opening thought: change your thinking, change your life. Ernest Holmes says, how much can we believe? And his answer is, as much as we can believe will be done unto us. This is where we go back to our teaching symbol, that circle that's divided into 3 even parts. In foundations, we learn it's the seed, the soil, and the plant. In science of mind, it's our thoughts, our desires of our heart, the law, and what we manifest. So our thoughts being at the top, we're thinking beings. It's what we do. We're thinking all the time. It's not like taking the seed, you know, let's say you're going to plant a watermelon seed. You take the watermelon seed, you put it into the soil. The soil says, okay, I'm going to give you a watermelon seed. The soil can't give us a carrot or an apple tree. It can only give us a watermelon seed. And then the plant becomes that watermelon. So our thoughts that we have many of go into that middle place, the soil, which we call the law. And this is where it became a little hard for me. I can fully understand that if you put a watermelon seed into the soil, that the soil is going to give you a watermelon. I couldn't understand how I could take a thought or a desire and put it into law, and the law would always say yes, because they told me the law always says yes. It doesn't say yes, but there may be unintended consequences, but I can't tell you about those. It can't say, are you sure? It simply says yes. And in my struggles to understand this, one day I was Googling, because I've always been a big Google person. And the funny thing about Google is, you know, you don't have to use, it's not case sensitive. You don't have to use caps. You don't have to use punctuation. Most of the time, you don't even have to spell the words right. And Google will give you your answer. And it doesn't care what the question is. It will give you the answer. And I went, oh, that's like law. It's non-attached, it's unemotional, it simply says yes. And I finally understood how the law works. And so then what I have in my life is what I manifested. But I want to go back to those thoughts and desires, because those are really important. You know, those thoughts that we think that are, you know, just floating through our head every day. We used to say, you know, it doesn't matter, because all of those, you know, ever how many thousands of random thoughts we have every day, they just float on by. And now we're saying, you know, they do matter, because every thought that we ends up being a seed in our mind of something we want came from a random thought. So our plant, which is our manifestation of our thoughts and desires. And this is the part that I also push back on a little bit, because they told me, in the Science of Mind book tells us that what we see in our life is what we manifest. And I spent some time as I was contemplating these words, and I looked at my clothes, I looked at the furniture, I looked at my car, I looked at every single thing that I have that's visible, my books, my computer, every single thing I have is because I manifested it. It's what I want. And let's talk about, you know, my computer for a little bit, because having a computer where I could do these services and not have the frustration I was experiencing was a very important thought. I wrote about it in my journal every single night. And I would like to say I did it for years and I finally got my computer, but you know what happened? I did it for like 3 weeks, and all of a sudden that things opened up and changed in my thinking. And now I have this computer. So our thoughts become things. So change our thinking, change our life. It's important. And you know, the difficult part of this whole, the only difficult part of this whole talk, and I'll try to keep it short, is we cannot plant seeds of anger and sadness or despair without receiving that back. We are a mirror. The universe is a mirror reflection of what we put out. I personally gave up the news years ago. It wasn't for any reason that I can say was great on my part. It was I went to visit my daughter for 2 weeks and they don't have TV. And I noticed that when I went home, I had a peace that I hadn't had in a long time because I was a news junkie. And I gave it up and it was good. In November, I gave up Facebook, and it was meant to be for a week. But the seed that I planted was I really needed some peace and some serenity, and I couldn't have it. I could find the joy in Facebook, but the joy was outweighed by my peace and serenity being beat down. And so at the end of that week, what I had really intended was to go back on Facebook. But what I had intended stronger than that was to keep my peace and my serenity. And I'm just saying that this is my way. Fortunately, we are as varied as the trees, as everything else, and there is many, many ways. We just find our way. But what I've learned is that I can plant fields upon fields of happiness and joy and peace. For from those seeds will come forth what is planted. Only when we as individuals can embrace what we think, feel, and what is ours to do about it. And so then we ask the question, what are you planting? And at the end of the service, we're going to go into just a 5-minute visioning about that question. You know, Emma Curtis Hawkins said, claim your joy, claim your good every day, not once a day, but 3 times a day. If this sounds simplistic, I assure you it is. This is all very simple. Is it easy? Yes, it's easy, but it takes dedication. It takes time. It takes a few minutes, a few times a day. So that is talking about how it works. Now let's talk about what it does. It manifests. So Ernest tells us the divine mind is infinite. It contains all knowledge and wisdom, but before it can reveal its secrets, it must have an outlet. This outlet shall be compelled to supply through our own receptive mentalities. We are that outlet. We, each of us, unique, perfect, incredible individuals, are the outlet for divine mind. And this one, I love this quote because it reminded me of you all, of your faces, of your talents, of knowing, having this 7-8 months to know you. And this quote says, all invention, art, literature, government, law, and wisdom that has come to the race has been given to it through those who've deeply penetrated the secrets of nature and the mind of God. We have some incredibly talented people in this room. You've taken your passion and your love and manifested brilliance. I know it's true. I've seen it and I've heard it. What is your passion? What are you manifesting? So now let's talk about how to use it. We all said yes, and we're here today. That is one step towards using our thoughts, our intentions, and what we would like to have more of what we would like, and that would be spiritual community. We all came here for different reasons today, and they were all good, and we all said yes. I like to say, every action is like a raindrop. The more raindrops that are created, the bigger the effect of the rain. Our thoughts are like a snowflake, each one uniquely different and beautiful. The more snowflakes that are created, the more magnificent beauty is visible. We are light. The more light that is let out through us, the more we draw in of our good. like to there is great joy across this country felt by many, many people. Unfortunately, by so many people, is our time to have the universe reflect back on us. And I would encourage us to hold on to that, to not let the things that come up over the next year as COVID-19 continues to express itself, as changes are made across the country and some people embrace and some people are having a harder time letting it go, that we remember that oneness that we are, and that we be that light, that beauty, that love, that seed of hope for those that cannot find theirs. We must seek the source of life if we would live, and no longer seeing as through a glass darkly. We shall be gently led from out of canyons and disillusionment into the fertile valleys of peace through which flows the river of life. Being individuals, the choice is ours. Being divine, we seek freedom immortal, we shall find it. That is from this thing called life. We are the divine spark that creates our life. And I'm going to ask in a moment that we take a breath and prepare to settle into the stillness. When I first came into Centers for Spiritual Living, we did a similar visioning. It was the first time that I had a true awareness that I oversaw my destiny, not someone else, not a God in the sky, not my boss. No one but me was in charge of my destiny. I was the boat in the ocean in charge of where I was going to go. I chose my destiny, not someone else. We change our thinking so that we can change our mind. So I ask that you take a deep breath. Softly close your eyes and settle into the stillness, letting go of extraneous noise, of things that don't serve us in this moment, and breathing it out. We take another breath deeply in. We slowly exhale the magnificence of who we are as individuals and claim that God quality that we would like to embrace this year. And we ask the question, what is my highest idea for me this year? Be open and receptive to envision what you would like your life to be, knowing that it is Spirit's greatest pleasure to say yes. We ask the question, what is my divine idea for me this year? And we wait. And as we prepare to hold on to those thoughts that came through as random thoughts and keep them close, to go back and take time later and explore, we ask the question, What must I release? What roadblock is keeping you from your highest good? Doubt, lack, resistance? We ask the question, what must I release? And we wait. And we ask the question, what must I embrace? More time in spiritual practice, forgiveness, abundance? What must I embrace? And we wait. And before we come out of this time, stay in that soft place with your eyes softly closed. And I'm going to share a song, The Face of God, knowing that we are all the face of God. And let those words resonate with the you that came here today to be in spiritual community, to learn, to be, and to breathe.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu es l'image de Dieu. I hold you in my heart. Tu es l'image de l'amour. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu sei la luce di Dio. I hold you in my heart. Tu sei il volto dell'amore. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of God. The face of God. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are a part You are the face of God. 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 La luce di Dio. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. L'image de Dieu. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. La luz de Dio. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
I would like to close with a passage from this thing called You, knowing that that was a fast meditation or visioning. Michael Beckwith has a 5-step visioning process that I use personally when I'm going through times of making big decisions. If you don't have that and you would like it, just let me know and I'd be happy to send it to you. But I would like to end our talk today with the wisdom of Ernest Holmes. Today, you are to hold your thoughts steadfast in the realization that God withholds nothing from you. Therefore, prepare yourself for a life of joy, love, happiness, and well-being. Believe in the divine freedom which is yours by birthright. Say, I know that the law of God surrounds me with love and friendship. I permit this love and friendship to flow out to all things, to all people, everywhere. I let it radiate in my environment, bless everything I touch, make whole that which is weak, turn fear into faith, and accomplish the miracle of healing through love. Whatsoever things are good and true, I shall think upon. This I shall remember, that spirit is not far off. I shall remind myself that I live in the divine presence, that my affairs are in the keeping of eternal mind. I live, move, and have my being in wholeness. Peace, poise, and power belong to my kingdom. I give joy and love to all, knowing that the gift of life is not to me alone. I share my good. I welcome the opportunity to love fully, completely, and joyfully. I believe in myself because I believe in God. I accept life fully, completely, without reservation, holding to the conviction that good is the eternal reality, that God is the everlasting presence, that Christ within me is the eternal guide, that my life is complete today. Thank you very much for this opportunity to bring a talk to you today, and I will turn it back over to Dr. Barbara.
Thank you, Sylvia, for that wonderful rebirthing into truth and into the wisdom of Ernest Holmes. I love the process of looking at the introduction of the Science of Mind text in January every year. I feel if we get that, we get it. We get the gist of it. And I love that song too, The Face of God. The first time I ever heard that was at the Center for Spiritual Living, Asheville, and Jenna Douglas was on the stage signing. And by the end of it, I was a puddle, just a total puddle. It's just one of my favorite pieces of our beautiful music that we use. That was fantastic. So now let us do this. Let's step into a blessing, a knowing of truth, abundance, health, joy, and wisdom for every being everywhere, every child, every adult, every critter, every essence, those we see and those we do not, knowing for each and every one that life says yes to all, that good and very good is always present and at hand, and that we each in our celebration of this, our knowing of this, immortalize these very qualities, this givingness of spirit, this ever creative process. We say thank you for it all, and we know it is good and very good. We let that go, knowing it is done, and together we say, and so it is. This week, we've received a number of donations. We've also sold some of our furniture. Things are going swimmingly with the process of releasing our space at Pondview Drive. I actually have to be there before 1 o'clock today, so we will not have a conversational time after the service this morning. I put the information in chat there if you need it, our website, of course, the phone number and email and our mailing address. If you wish to make a donation, you can go to findadeepertruth.org, click on the donate button, and down at the bottom, you will find a link that will allow you to make a donation either by credit or debit card or through PayPal. You can also mail a check. Our mailing address is there. Things are good. A reminder is that coming up next Sunday, Dr. Barnsley Brown plans to present a play shop, and I did not print the flyer. I apologize for not having the title of it right in front of you. That information has been mailed out, and I will send it out again before the close of whatever this business day time might be, tonight sometime. Look for that. It's a flyer based on, or a workshop based, a play shop based on Dr. Barnsley's 2 books, which are about prosperity. I don't know anyone who doesn't want more good in their lives. Prosperity isn't just about money, guys. It's about things showing up when they need to show up for our divine right wellness, for our highest good. And I know I am always open to that, whether it's, going outside and seeing the daffodils beginning to poke up out of the dirt, knowing that spring is coming. That's prosperity. That's good. That's incredible stuff. All the way from that to seeing a check in the mailbox. What a wonderful thing that can be too. So join us next week. I'll send the flyer out again, and you are welcome to register simply by sending an email, letting me know who wishes to attend. There is information that Dr. Barnsley would like folks to print. So look for that in your inbox once you register, and I'll get that out to you. Barnsley, as you all know, is just a ball of fire. She's a lot of fun. It's going to be a fun, fast-moving experience with her next week. So very excited about the opportunity to do that. And just an FYI, that is a bit of a fundraiser too for Open Door Center. So you're helping us out and helping Barnsley and benefiting tremendously yourself by doing that. I don't think I have anything else to share. So I'm going to turn it over to Laura Rosewood to close us with prayer. Thank you for being here today. And again, thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, Deborah and Carol and Laura, our practitioners. You guys rock the house in all you do. Thanks. Laura.
So I just take this wonderful freeing breath and remembering that God is always here in every moment. There is only that presence of the divine that fills us, that creates all that is, that makes this life. This power and presence in all things lives and breathes within me. I know that I am an expression of the divine. I know that each and every one of us is an expression of God in our unique way, sharing that love from our heart, opening to the creativity that is expressing through us. I know as we go forward in our week that we are all blessed with remembering our basics, the basics of science mind, how we create our lives. It's through our thoughts, it's through our feelings, and this knowing that God always says yes. I am so grateful for this community. I'm grateful for this message from Sylvia, and I'm grateful for each and every drop of love that comes through us from the divine. We live in gratitude. We create in love as we let God shine through us. And knowing this truth, I just let it go. I let it go into the law, into that place that says yes without reservation, knowing that it is already done. It is already here in each and every one of us. And together we say, and so it is.
It is sweet. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us this morning. It's great to see those of you that are with us every week and those of you who just join us on occasion. Big love and blessings for a great week. Hopefully we'll see some warm weather and some more daffodils, maybe some snow too.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.